forest field or mountainside. Pack up the tent and ride. What you say we get away from these city lights? Pack up your tent and ride. You know you gotta pack up your tent.
Hi, I'm Fraser Douglas, and I've been an avid tent camper now for almost 55 years. But I actually started camping in the Boy Scouts when I was about 10 years old, and that was 66 years ago. I thought I would share with you the highlights of my camping experiences and also share some opinions that I have formed as a result of these experiences. Hope you enjoy this video. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and lived there for the first 17 years of my life. During this time, I went on about a dozen camping trips with the Boy Scouts and about 5 summer vacation camping trips with my father. I also set up a homemade tent in my backyard and slept out there several times. I don't remember too much from back then, but I do remember a Boy Scout camp at Oak Mountain State Park, riding horses with my father at Montesano State Park, and water skiing with my father at Wind Creek State Park. At the age of 17, I moved down to Auburn and lived in the Auburn-Montgomery area for the next 7 years. During this time, I bought my first store-bought tent and took several camping trips around central Alabama, West Georgia, and northwest Florida. My favorite camping destination was Chewacla State Park and Wind Creek Park, and I enjoyed occasional trips down to the Florida Gulf Coast and stayed at St. Andrews State Park in Florida. For the last 2 years of this time period, I was in the 109th Army Reserve Hospital, and we camped out every other month at Fort McClellan, Alabama. And my last year in Auburn, I took a 3-week camping trip out to the Grand Canyon and northeastern Utah. At the age of 24, I moved to southwest Wisconsin. And for the next 5 years, enjoyed camping in central Wisconsin, western Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa, with longer trips to Canada, Kansas, Colorado, and Texas. Devil's Lake State Park was one of my favorite camping destinations. And then I moved to Milwaukee in the southeastern corner and spent 4 more years camping throughout southeastern and northeastern Wisconsin. During these 9 years, I drove back to see my relatives in Alabama every summer and camped in either Illinois or Indiana, going and coming. At the age of 33, I moved back to Alabama and spent the next 10 years living in extreme south central Alabama, about 100 miles west of Dothan, and camped in many campgrounds throughout South Alabama and northwest Florida. 3 of my favorite camping destinations were Open Pond in the Conecuh National Forest, Fort Pickens in the Gulf Island National Seashore, and Fred Gannon Rocky Bayou State Park near Niceville, Florida. And finally, at the age of 43, I moved to North Alabama and lived in the Huntsville area for the past 32 years. For 25 years, I worked as a college professor and had lots of free time, especially during the summer, and used a lot of this time visiting campgrounds throughout the southeastern United States, mainly in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, and North Carolina. For the past 7 years, I've been retired and had even more time to camp. During these past 32 years, I've made at least one summer camping trip back to Wisconsin every year to see old friends, and I camped in either Illinois or Indiana, going up and coming back home. During the late 1990s, I worked 4 summers as the campground host at Brigham County Park near Madison, Wisconsin. This park was very busy on nice summer weekends, but virtually empty during the week. In 2012, we camped in Michigan for the first time and absolutely loved it. And so we went back to Michigan for at least a week every summer for the next 6 years. We especially enjoyed camping along the western Gold Coast of Lake Michigan and in the Upper Peninsula. And finally, over the past 32 years, I've made long trips to South Florida, Texas, Arkansas, and Virginia. In sum, I have camped in almost 200 different campgrounds over my lifetime and have camped multiple times in several of these campgrounds. For example, I have camped in a Door County, Wisconsin area for a week every summer for 19 years. And furthermore, I have visited over 100 more campgrounds just to see if they would be a suitable camping destination in the future. Most of these campgrounds were safe and peaceful camping areas, but a few were loud and potentially dangerous. From my experience, I have concluded that location, safety, and activities are the three most important features to look for when selecting a campground destination. You can find more details about each of these important features on my website, moderntentcamping.com, plus 6 more important features you may want to consider before deciding to stay in a particular campground. Furthermore, I have concluded that sensible families should avoid free or low-cost campgrounds, remote campgrounds, small campgrounds, and unsupervised campgrounds because these campgrounds are likely to attract people that will cause problems. And finally, I have discovered that camping allows you to meet some of the nicest, most interesting, and most generous people you would never meet in your routine daily life. And now let me mention a few of my favorite camping destinations and explain why I like them so much. For most of my adult life, my favorite camping destination was Door County, Wisconsin, and I usually stayed in Peninsula State Park in Fish Creek. I love this area because it had delicious fish boils, miles of bike trails, live theaters, Lake Michigan lighthouses, great restaurants, interesting shops, galleries, and museums, a great swimming beach, boat rentals, beautiful sunsets, and much more. My second favorite camping destination for most of my adult life was southwestern Wisconsin, and I camped in over a dozen different campgrounds. I love this area because many old friends still live there, and because it had miles of beautiful, unglaciated rolling hills, dairy farms, live theater, many miles of bike trails, great restaurants, the Wisconsin Dells, and interesting wildlife. About 20 years ago, I began camping in the Smoky Mountains every summer and have camped in almost a dozen different campgrounds, some in the park and some private campgrounds just outside. Currently, my favorite campground is the Greenbrier Campground. Gradually, the Smokies has become my favorite camping destination, partly because it's much closer to my home than Wisconsin, partly because the temperatures are cooler during the hot summer months, and largely because there are so many fun and interesting things to do there. My second favorite camping destination now is the Northwest Florida Gulf Coast, and I have camped in about 10 different campgrounds there. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I've camped in the Fort Pickens campground in the Gulf Islands National Seashore more than any of the other campgrounds, but I also really like the Topsail Hill State Park. In addition to its beautiful beaches, this area offers many great restaurants, shops, museums, historical attractions, and interpretive programs. My third favorite camping destination is Lincoln State Park in southern Indiana. I like this park because it has two very nice campgrounds, a beautiful lake with a swimming beach, boat rentals, historic buildings, nice bike and walking trails, and live theater. In addition, it's located just across the road from Lincoln's boyhood home, National Park, about 5 miles away from Holiday World and Splashing Safari Park, and about 30 miles away from Spring Mill State Park. Here in my home state of Alabama, my favorite camping destination is Wind Creek State Park, and I have camped there about 10 times over the last 66 years. It offers many fun activities, but the thing that I like best is the nice swimming beach. Unfortunately, alligators are beginning to inhabit all the lakes in South and Central Alabama, and it's just a matter of time before this beach will be closed for safety. My other favorite Alabama camping destinations include White Oak Creek Corps of Engineers Campground near Eufaula, Alabama, Oak Mountain State Park near Birmingham, Tannin Hill State Historic Park near Birmingham, Montesano State Park just 20 miles from our home, and Gulf State Park on the Gulf of Mexico coast. Each of these campgrounds are safe and quiet and offer a nice variety of fun recreational activities. Well, that was a pretty good summary of my experience and some of the most important opinions that I have formed. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you feel like you've learned something that you might be able to use on your future camping trips. Thanks for watching. For more information about great family tent camping destinations, visit my website page that lists many great campgrounds in several eastern states, and also watch my campground review videos on this YouTube channel.
Take more trips, travel further, visit more attractions, and spend less money. Go tent camping.
You know you gotta pack up your tent and ride. Pack up your tent and ride. Good grub cooking on a fire tonight. Pack up your tent and ride.